Welcome, everyone. Hello, hello, welcome. It's good to see you all tonight, this evening. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our AERA 2026 Submission Workshop, your path to presenting at AERA in Los Angeles. I'm Lina Safa, the Research and Grants Manager at the Center for Global Partnerships and Learning at Pepperdine GSCP, and it's wonderful to have you join us tonight as we explore how to navigate the AERA submission process and increase your chances of getting your research accepted at one of the largest education research conferences in the world. At the center, we are deeply committed to nurturing a vibrant research community across both education and psychology divisions here at GSCP, helping to connect scholars, share knowledge, and promote impactful research on a global scale. I would also like to extend a warm welcome from our entire team at the center, led by our director, Dr. Gabriela Miramontes, who continues to champion opportunities for our students and alumni to engage in global research communities. I'm excited for our session this evening, and I'm even more thrilled to introduce our distinguished guest speaker, who will share valuable insights drawn from extensive experience with AERA. So let's move ahead and meet Dr. Lee. We all know Dr. Lee, just introducing him and meeting him. Dr. Sung Lee, he is an assistant professor of education at Pepperdine University, Graduate School of Education and Psychology. His research focuses on collaborative learning, online interactions, socio-cognitive processes, and creativity among K-12 students, particularly in the context of STEM education. Dr. Lee's methodological expertise is in quantitative ethnography and epistemic network analysis, which applies statistical and visualization techniques to model the structure of connections in the data. Dr. Lee brings tremendous experience and insight, having been deeply involved with AERA for many years through his research, presentations, and leadership roles. I know his perspective will be incredibly valuable for all of us as we look ahead for AERA 2026. Dr. Lee, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We're honored to have you share your wisdom and experience with our community. And before we dive in, I would love also to take a moment to highlight another special part of tonight's session. We're very fortunate to have 5 outstanding graduate students and alumni who will each be sharing their experiences during our Lightning Talk segment a bit later this evening. Each of them will offer insights into their own journeys presenting at AERA, along with practical tips to help you navigate your submissions and feel confident about participating in this conference. So to briefly introduce them, we are so grateful to have Dr. Kaylee Axtell, Program Manager for Learning and Development at Amazon. She is a PhD graduate of GSCP in 2024 from the Global Leadership and Change and a current POI at Pepperdine GSCP. Dr. Tianxi Hao, Knowledge Engineer and Hyperthesis LLC. He is also an alum of he graduated with his PhD in 2024 from the Global Leadership and Change and a current POI also at Pepperdine GSCP. Angelique Vansky, professor in the Political Science Department at Cal State Fullerton, and she is a PhD student in Global Leadership and Change at GSCP, expected to graduate in 2026, spring 2026. We also have Catherine Race, Excellence and Innovation Program EIP Scholar Researcher. She is a PhD student in Global Leadership and Change, expected to graduate in spring 2026. And last but not least, we have Brittany Tate-Rees, Social Media and Website Editor at AERA in 2024 and 2025. And she is an EDD student in Learning Technologies, expected to graduate spring 2026. So we are going to get to our Lightning Talk segment later, but given that Brittany has family commitments, we would like to honor her time and introduce, just let her pass first. so that we can benefit from her, insights. Welcome, Brittany, and the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Dr. Safa, and congratulations. It was a pleasure meeting you at the AERA annual meeting in Chicago. Good evening, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Brittany Tate Reese, and I did serve as the social media and website editor in 2024 and 2025. I am now the current social media and website editor for Division C and Division E. It's great to be here with you today. I'm excited to share some really valuable ways you can get connected, but most importantly, stay connected through AERA. So whether this is you're new to the organization or you're looking to deepen your involvement, hopefully these insights will be beneficial to you. So let's start with something that we all need, writing support. So throughout the year, including the summer, the Graduate Student Council hosts virtual writing sessions. I'm actually excited to share with you a link that the GSC just held not too long ago, a couple days ago. It's a webinar for graduate students. So if you didn't get a chance to attend, I would be happy to share the link with you. But these are focused drop-in style sessions where grad students come together, we free write, we reflect, we share drafts for feedback, especially in low pressure environments. I think that's the biggest thing. Many of these connections actually make the annual meeting meaningful. So you start to see a lot of these connections happen in these small virtual spaces. I'd also like to share two WhatsApp groups, and I'll be happy to put this in the chat after I'm done speaking, but they are AERA graduate students and AERA large group. So these are excellent spaces that we use to bounce ideas off of peers. We do AERA proposals and other academic projects. I'd like to also add that I have applied to at least 70 different conferences outside of AERA and have been accepted to quite a few just by some of my colleagues dropping those conferences and those deadlines in the chat. So this is a space where we learn about other non-AERA publishing opportunities, and we hold each other accountable for our AERA deadlines. We even coordinate roommates for the AERA meeting to help cut costs. So if you're looking to attend the annual meeting and you're looking to make it economical, those are the chats that we use to deepen our involvement. I'm going to direct your attention to, I am the social media editor. I'm going to start with the socials first, but our GSC on LinkedIn, this is where we post all of our events by all divisions. And fun fact, you can join more than one division. I am a member of 5 divisions within AERA. So as soon as you sign up, you become an official member, you pay an additional cost, and you can join SIGs or other divisions that you would that you align with or that your interests align with. We also have a GSC listserv. We get job postings, fellowship opportunities, call for papers, and above all, leadership opportunities that do come with reimbursements. The next thing I would like to draw your attention to is the GSC newsletter. So we do publish this twice in the fall, twice in the spring. We share our announcements here and achievements. This particular newspaper reaches over 10,000 graduate students from around the world. We make up 31% of AERA. So if you think that you as a grad student you don't hold any weight, that couldn't be further from the truth. We make up a large percentage of AERA as a whole. So if you've recently published or currently publishing, presented, or even launched a cool project, you just simply reach out to the newsletter editor and she will make sure that you receive a spotlight. Now, let's talk about presenting your work because that's what tonight is all about, even if it's not quite finished yet. AERA offers unique opportunities specifically for graduate students. We call it RIP, but RIP stands for Research in Progress. And it is one of the most valuable and supportive spaces for developing work. It is, again, low stress, discussion based sessions where you're going to share your research that's in progress, but most importantly, receive feedback from both peers and faculty members who might be interested in your research topic. These are some of the largest sessions at AERA because they have a lot of application. So what makes research in progress sessions extra special? I'm going to let you all in on a secret. If you all are a part of Division C, which is instructional design, they also offer mentoring opportunities. So if you sign up in advance, you can request a mentor. It's as simple as finding a mentor from any institution across the world that you would like to connect with. You submit a brief paragraph on why you would like to be mentored by them, along with a short writing sample, and AERA will do their very best to match you with that individual. And I've seen people walk away with lifelong research connections, collaborations, grant opportunities. I mean, the list is endless. Now, one key tip for getting selected for research in progress, and I've talked to the grant director myself, and he told me this is exactly what they're looking for, is you have to make sure that their methodology section is tight and clear. So they get so many applications that they're full transparency, they're not reading every single application, and unfortunately, because there's so much interest. So if there are sections of your application that you would like them to look at and stand out, feel free to bold in those sections. So as they skim, that you can receive, more points towards actual acceptance. So remember, it doesn't have to be perfect, but it does need to be clear. And that is usually what is going to make the difference between what's accepted and what is going to get, please try again next year. So the good news is it doesn't, if it, even if it needs some work, the point of the session is it's meant for constructive feedback, and it is intentionally a larger session so that you can grow through the experience. The biggest advice I can offer, thank you so much. The biggest advice I can offer is staying connected throughout the year. I know a lot of us, we get excited as the annual meeting is approaching, but truthfully, the annual meeting is a celebration of the connections that we have developed all year long. So I am going to be dropping our socials. I'm going to be dropping our content. I am going to be dropping the links. I encourage you to just simply reach out to individuals from other institutions, not just Pepperdine affiliates, because we literally all celebrate, and the annual meeting is more of a culmination of all the hard work that we've done all year long. So whether you're here to write, connect, grow, or just explore, GSC has a place for you. And I look forward to sharing those resources with you. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much, Dr. Safa, for the invitation. And please reach out if you have any additional questions.
Thank you so much, Brittany, for your invaluable insights. You've got an extensive experience with the ARA. So, yeah, hopefully, if anyone has a question, do not hesitate to reach out to her. I know she wouldn't hesitate to help. Thank you, Brittany. So, now let's take a quick look at what we will be covering tonight. This workshop is really designed to demystify the ARA submission process and help you feel much more confident about putting your work forward for AERA 2026, which, as you can see, will be happening right here in Los Angeles under the theme Unforgetting Histories and Imagining Futures, Constructing a New Vision for Education and for Education Research. So by the time we wrap up tonight, my hope is that you will have clarity and practical tools around four main objectives. First, demystifying how the ARA submission system works so it feels less overwhelming and more manageable. Second, exploring the different submission formats and requirements and how to decide which one fits your work best. Third, sharing some strategies to help improve your chances of acceptance, drawn from both experience and insights generously shared by our guest speaker and alumni. And fourth, talking about how to choose the right division or SIG, that is your special interest group, to make sure your work reaches the right audience and reviewers. And I want to emphasize that this is a collaborative and supportive space. So we're all here to help each other succeed. So please don't hesitate to ask questions or share your thoughts along the way. Now, briefly walking you through the agenda. So we'll start a quick look at why AERA matters and AERA, the American Educational Research Association, and what makes it such an impactful conference for researchers in both education and psychology. Then a step-by-step walkthrough of the AERA submission process, so you can see how the system works and feel confident navigating it. Next, we will cover the various formats and requirements like paper sessions, posters, roundtables, and more, so you can figure out which option best fits your research and your goals. We will also talk about the importance of choosing the right division or SIG, because aligning your work with the right audience is one of the most powerful ways to boost your chances of acceptance. I will then share some practical, sorry, I'm gonna open it here. Yeah. So I will then share some practical tips for success and best practices to help make your submission stand out. We will then have Dr. Sung Lee joining us as our guest speaker, who will share insights from his extensive experience with AERA. And after that, we will hear from our graduate students and alumni in the Lightning Talk segment. Finally, we will close with a Q&A session and discussion where you are welcome to ask anything on your mind. So as we go through the workshop, please feel free to jot down any questions you would like to bring up during the Q&A. We really want this to be as helpful and interactive for you as possible. So why should you think about submitting to AERA in the first place? It's the world's largest education research conference, bringing together thousands of scholars, practitioners, and students from across the globe. It's an incredible platform, not just to share your own research, but also to learn from some of the leading voices in your field. It's also a fantastic chance to publish and network nationally. So whether you're presenting a paper, a poster, or participating in a roundtable, you're stepping into conversations that can shape your scholarly and professional path. Participating in AERA can significantly boost your academic professional profile. From my personal experience, I could say that it opens doors for collaborations, future research opportunities, and it helps you gain confidence and visibility as a scholar. And the great news is that it will be happening right here in Los Angeles from April 8th to the 12th. So it's an ideal opportunity for our community to participate without the extra barriers of travel costs. I also want to emphasize that AERA, unlike the general thought, it's not just for senior researchers. Many graduate students successfully present their work each year, just as we all did. This past year, for example, we had 17 members from the Pepperdine GSCP participate at AERA 2025 in Denver, Colorado. They shared their research and engaged in leadership opportunities. So please remember, this conference is both a showcase and a learning opportunity. Even if you're still working through ideas, your paper is not complete yet, there's a place for you at AERA, whether in a poster session, roundtable, or even research in progress presentation, just as Brittany shared. So don't count yourself out. The experience can be incredibly valuable for your growth as a scholar. All right, now let's talk about the nuts and bolts of submitting to AERA. The submission process can sometimes feel overwhelming, so let's walk you through it step by step. First, you will need to create a free account on the AERA portal if you don't already have one. It's a pretty quick process, and it's your gateway to everything related to your submission. Once you're logged in, you will go to paper or session submission tab. So this is where you will officially start the process of submitting your proposal or paper. Now you will choose one division, SIG, or committee where your work best fits. And this is important because choosing the right group for your research helps ensure your work is reviewed by people who truly understand your topic. We will talk more about how to make that choice a bit later, but I would like to emphasize this point because many submissions that were rejected or that may be rejected, they are not rejected because they are not quality work. They are rejected mostly because they were submitted to the wrong division or SIG or committee. So you will also upload your full paper, of course, which can be up to 2,000 words max. Keep in mind that the submission is anonymous, so do not include any names or affiliations in your document. And after that, you will add the information for all presenters, including yourself and any co-authors. Finally, make sure you review everything carefully and submit your proposal before July 25, 2025, which is the deadline at 11:59 p.m. Pacific time. We will practice exploring the portal a little bit later so you can see how it looks in real time. But for now, remember, each of these steps is manageable and thousands of students successfully complete them every year. Dr. Ghazi, can we go to breakout rooms in a bit? So we need to put this into practice. Just would love for you to open the AERA portal in your browser. I'll drop the links in the chat in just a moment so we'll have easy access. If you're brand new, go ahead and create a free account. It only takes about 2 minutes. And if you already have an account, just log in. So the goal here is not to submit anything real today, just simply to explore the submission page and practice clicking through the steps we just talked about. So don't worry about uploading any real documents. We'll send you into breakout rooms. Dr. Ghazi, are you with us? Okay, in the meantime, let me share the links. In the chat. Okay.
Dr. Safa, how many breakout rooms do you need?
Uh, so we are 29. I think we can go in like 5,
Okay.
please. Thank you.
Do you want me, are they choosing automatically or are they going to choose their own?
We can randomly choose.
Okay.
Okay.
Hi, Dr. Gabby.
Hey,
I didn't join a room because I'm just working here in the background, but do you need me to join? I'm sorry.
No, not if you're just working in the background. I'm not sure how Lena had this set up.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know there were going to be breakout rooms.
Yeah, so I mean, Kaylee, if you want to join the room, you can and see if there's anything you can contribute, but you don't have to.
Okay. Okay. Sounds good. I was planning to stay on here, certainly through the lightning talks and everything.
Sounds good.
Can I make you host? Because I actually have a client meeting right now coming up.
Sure.
Okay, so I'm letting them in. All right, let me do that. And it'll still record in the background and it's recording on the cloud. So, all right, thank you. I'll talk to you all soon.
Okay. Hi.
Hey, sorry, I look so ragged. My gosh.
You look fine.
No, thank you. I'm not gonna argue. Ah,
Right now they're in the breakout rooms.
okay, perfect. Okay, great. How are you doing today?
I'm okay. How about you?
Okay, well, undone. But it's fine. It's fine. It's all good. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Your hair looks so fabulous.
You
It's like neon. I love it.
look neon?
Yeah. I mean, it just is good. Real good.
You. I appreciate it.
I told Lena when we were in Geneva that was I did I've kind of decided to get my hair cut short.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I don't know. It's not growing, it's yada yada. So and
Dr. Brahmi, I have to interrupt you because I cut my hair. You had to see. I cut my hair short.
you
I was
did.
listening to you in the background and you're like, I'm thinking
So
about cutting my hair
funny.
short.
So
And,
what I'm seeing is not short.
oh, thank you. It's the shortest I've ever had it in my life. I went in and
You are so
it was
cute.
totally unexpected, but I embraced it.
Oh, good. Okay, so that is helpful.
Yes, I didn't mean to interrupt
Nice.
you. I just wanted to
Oh,
pop on and say
no,
hello.
please. Oh, please. And I missed you. Oh my gosh.
I
How,
know. I'm
oh,
dying looking at the pictures of the trip, I'm like, what am I doing? I'm not there. I'm in the wrong place. I need to be on that trip. So
Good.
I'm tracking that for next year. I'm tracking
oh,
that for next year. It looked like lots of fun though.
it was really good. It was really good. So, yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Yes. Oh, it would have been so fun to have you. Yeah.
Hmm. That's great. And how are you? How's everything else going? Is Dr. Majidi joining today? Probably not. He doesn't have time. But
Oh, good.
how
Good.
is he? Is
Oh,
he doing fine?
Yeah, he's just busy.
Yeah. Yeah. That's I'm sure.
uh, yeah, that's the sacrifice.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He's
Mm-hmm.
doing his dean stuff, and
Yeah.
we're lucky to have him as dean. So,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Dr. Gabby, are you in your office or are you at your home office? Home office?
This.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Look at those books. Oh man.
I know, right? It's kind of a reassurance to see, yes, that book.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
So, and Kaylee, you're at your school, is that right? Is that why there's a big whiteboard?
No, I'm at work. I'm at work. So I won't stay on camera because I realize it's obnoxious. But
Oh,
yes. No, I'm
nice.
just at work joining because otherwise I'll be just in traffic and I don't think that the audio will be as
Oh,
clear. So
yeah. But just a note, nothing about you is ever obnoxious, ever.
oh thank you.
Right, Dr. Gabby? I mean, there's something about,
Agreed.
right?
Agreed.
Something about her. It's like always exactly right.
Aw, thank you, Dr. Brame. And where are you? I wish I was sitting outside with you on your
Oh, I'm on my
highlighter blue porch.
Yeah, I'm on my porch. This is
Oh,
actually my Virgin of Guadalupe porch. Yeah, this is my honor to her. So, because her colors and she's
beautiful.
yeah,
Is
yeah.
that a sticky note pad that is attached to the door and a pen? Am I seeing that right?
Yes, you are right.
Oh,
I have created this office. You are so right.
I
Yes.
love it.
I can't be anywhere without post-its or office supplies. So, yes, you are so right. Oh, thank you for noticing.
That's
Yeah,
inspiring.
a cat will appear back here. Sometimes that's sort of that's the wild nature of my house. Oh, you're so funny. Oh, thank you. So I see Dr. Safa is talking, but I can't hear her.
I'm so sorry, I was muted. Could you please reach Dr. Gabby? I can't reach her to take us back to the main session.
Oh,
It's closing in 4 seconds.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Gabby.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. Think we're back, right?
Mhm.
Okay, well, let's talk briefly about some important rules and policies to keep in mind when preparing your submission. First and foremost, AERA expects original work only, so your submission should be new research, not previously published or presented elsewhere. A completed paper is required, not just an abstract. You will need to submit the full text up to 2,000 words so the reviewers can truly evaluate the substance of your research. And remember that the review process is anonymous or what's called blind review, so be sure to remove all identifying information, no names, affiliations, or clues about your institution in the document you upload. In terms of participation limits, AERA allows no more than 2 submissions as lead author, and it's important to know that you can only submit 1 proposal per study, meaning you cannot submit multiple proposals that are essentially the same project, but framed differently. Also, for any research involving human subjects, make sure your work complies with ethical research standards and IRB protocols. If your proposal is accepted, you will need to register for the conference by February 2026. So plan ahead for that timeline and any associated costs. And finally, please know that support is available if you run into any technical issues or have specific questions about the submission process. The AERA meeting team is very helpful. You can reach out to them directly at the email shown on the slide. So keep these rules in mind as you prepare. It'll help you avoid surprises later on. Now, let's talk about the different submission formats you can choose from when you're getting ready to submit. Understanding these options can help you decide which format best fits your research, your comfort level with presenting, and the stage of your work. So first, there's the traditional paper session. This is an oral presentation, usually as part of a panel, as we all know, of 3 or 4 papers, lasting about 90 minutes in total. Each presenter gets around 12 to 15 minutes to share the research, followed by a discussion. And it's perfect for more complete studies where you are ready to share full findings and engage in scholarly debate. Next, we have the poster session. At AERA, this often means a digital e-poster presented in an interactive display hall. Posters are a wonderful format if you're looking for more one-on-one conversations and feedback on your work. It's less formal than a paper session, but still highly respected. So often a great option for first-time presenters. Then there is the roundtable format, and this is a small group discussion setting where you share your paper at a table with other presenters and attendees who are interested in similar topics. It's ideal for in-depth conversations, networking, and getting feedback in a collaborative atmosphere.
Dr.
And
Safa,
finally, yeah.
We're getting some comments in the chat. Are you sharing your slides by any chance?
Oh my God, you don't see my slides. I'm glad you mentioned it. Wow. Thank you. Yep. Can you see it now? Sorry about that. I'm so sorry. Okay, so keep talking about the formats. It's a session proposal. No, we were in the individual submissions. So we talked about the paper session, poster session, the roundtable session, and finally, AERA offers the unique category called Research in Progress that Brittany talked about. This format is designed for studies that are not quite finished yet. So but are far enough along that you can share preliminary ideas, data, or conceptual frameworks. It's a great way to get constructive input on developing work and to connect with scholars who might have helpful perspectives for your next steps. And remember, there's no one right format among these. It's about choosing the one that matches where your research is right now, at what stage, and how you would like to engage with the AERA audience. So now, focusing on session proposals, which are a bit more collaborative and often suited to scholars who already have a network of colleagues working on related topics. First, we have the symposium, which is sometimes informally called a panel. This can be confusing because in AERA's official terminology, there's no separate category called panel. So when someone says we should submit a panel on this topic, they actually mean submitting a symposium. Symposium involves a coordinated team and typically includes 3 to 6 presenters, plus a discussant who responds to and ties together the different presentations. It's a great way to highlight a broader project or showcase different perspectives of a shared research topic, but keep in mind it's more work to coordinate and every paper within the symposium must stand on its own. So symposia are reviewed using the same 6 criteria, so each piece has to be solid. This is the main idea. There's also the workshop format. This is usually an interactive professional development session focused on building specific skills, sharing research methods, or discussing applications in practice. Workshops are highly engaging and offer practical takeaways for attendees. And finally, there's the graduate student roundtable, which falls under the umbrella of emerging student research spotlight sessions. These are excellent opportunities for graduate students to share early work that's not, finalized yet, it's not complete yet, connect with peers and get feedback in a more conversational setting. It's a casual setting. Whereas if you're further along in your program or you have colleagues working on similar topics, you would consider exploring a symposium or even proposing a workshop. Now that you have the different submission formats, let's talk briefly about how to choose the one that's right for your work. So first up, the paper session. This is often seen as the most prestigious format because it's a full oral presentation, usually about 10 minutes long. So think roughly 8 to 10 slides for the time slot. However, keep in mind that paper sessions are also the most competitive, with slightly lower acceptance rates in some divisions. So while it's a great goal, it's not the only valuable path. Posters, I really want to emphasize that posters are not a lesser format at all. In fact, many cutting edge, and I see Dr. Lee's nodding his head, many cutting edge or in progress projects are shared as posters. Posters often allow for more direct conversations and networking because people can stop by, ask you questions, and have meaningful discussions. And a big plus at ARA is that their system means you don't have to print anything. Your poster is digital, but you do still need to design it in a clear and engaging way. Next, the roundtable. This format is especially friendly for works in progress or conceptual papers. It's an intimate setting where it's perfectly normal to say things like, I'm still analyzing my data, or I'm looking for input on this theoretical approach. It's a collaborative and supportive environment where you can openly discuss challenges and next steps and get feedback from your peers. Just remember that roundtables don't come with AV equipment, so if you want to show slides or visuals, you'll need to bring a laptop or printed materials. Still, it's good practice to prepare talking points so you can share your ideas clearly. And that was my first interaction with the ARA. I presented at a roundtable session. Then we have the symposium or panel. And remember from earlier, ARA calls it this a symposium, even though people casually say panel. This format works well for broader topics that benefit from multiple voices. It's a great way to coordinate the session around a theme, but it requires a lot of collaboration and planning since all the papers are reviewed individually as part of the overall proposal. Workshops are a bit different. They're typically professional development sessions focused on teaching specific method or skill. So this isn't usually the route a single grad student takes alone, but I strongly encourage you to attend workshops at the conference because they're excellent for your own growth and your own networking. You could greatly network there. Finally, research in progress session, then these can be roundtables or separate sessions. We talked about it. It's also a fantastic confidence builder when your research is not ready yet. If your work is not quite ready for submission by July, just don't lose hope. The graduate student, yes, Dr. Brahmi, you have a question? You're muted.
Yeah. So sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but
No.
before we move on to the next screen, I did want to ask about the posters. So, will there be at AERA a poster session where individuals can walk around and talk to the presenters and ask about their posters as kind of in a traditional poster session?
Yes. Well, it's not traditional. It's a poster
Okay.
session for sure. But
Yeah.
why we say it's not traditional? Because it's a digital posters, like the poster format is digital. You would be assigned a screen
Okay.
and you will have to early on upload your poster digitally to the system. The ARA website walks you through this, through the they have the iGallery, and once you you are submitting a poster, they will walk you through. The system is really straightforward, so you don't have to take any print out. You don't have to take any paper poster. You just stand in front of your screen, you hover through, and
Okay.
it's very interactive and really cool.
So, that sounds really great. So it sounds like there is a session where the presenter or the authors are talking about their project with attendees. Does that sound right?
Right, but it's just like the traditional poster session, one-on-one, but rather than reading a paper, you will be just, you'll have your e-poster on a screen in front of you.
So good. Thank you.
Yeah, and they all go simultaneously in the same hall. It's a hall.
That's wonderful. I love
Dr.
it.
Lee, if you would like to add anything, please feel free to add. Okay, thank you. Okay, well, so I want just remember the academic community values seeing work in development. No one expects student projects to be perfect. The key is being clear about what you have done so far and what you are planning to do next. So another key part of preparing your AERA submission is choosing the right division, the SIG or committee to submit your work to. This choice can have a big impact because it determines who your reviewers will be, who comes to your session, and ultimately how well your work connects with the audience. So first, match your work to a unit's focus and scope. Every division or SIG has a slightly different mission and research emphasis. For example, one might focus heavily on policy, another on methodological innovation, another on specific populations or contexts. Take your time reading the unit-specific calls in the AERA guide. These calls outline the topics and themes that each division or SIG is particularly interested in for that year. So submitting to a unit whose call matches your work increases your chances of acceptance because reviewers will see your research as a strong fit. Also think about the difference between divisions and SIGs. Divisions tend to be, and that's a tip I learned from Dr. Lee when I was in his classroom. He walked us through the process. Divisions tend to be larger and broader, while SIGs, special interest groups, often focus on narrower or emerging topics and can be excellent communities for networking and mentorship. When you're preparing your proposal, use keywords and descriptors tied to your unit's interests also. This helps ensure that your submission is routed to the correct reviewers who are genuinely interested in your topic. And finally, if you're ever unsure where your work fits, do not hesitate to reach out to the unit chairs. They have their links listed under each division. Dr. Lee, do you have any other? You can push against and no? Okay. They're typically very approachable and can help you decide whether your proposal aligns well with their group's focus. And remember, the goal is to place your work where it will be most appreciated and have the strongest impact. So let's talk now about how to make your abstract and paper as strong as possible, because these are really the core of your submission. Your abstract is limited to 120 words, and it needs to be concise, clear, and compelling. Think of it as your elevator pitch. Reviewers should be able to quickly understand what your study is about, why it matters, and what makes it unique. So for the full paper, you have up to 2,000 words, no more. They are very strict about these guidelines, and it's important to structure it clearly. AERA often expects headings like purpose, framework, methods, results, and significance. When they see these headings, that's a plus. Having these sections helps reviewers quickly locate key information and assess the rigor of your work. A big tip here, avoid jargon. Write as clearly and accessibly as possible because your reviewers might be scholars in your field, but they're not inside your dissertation or your work. So aim for clarity and precision. Also remember that everything must be anonymized for blind review. Double check that there's no mention of your name, your institution, or any identifying details anywhere in your document or metadata. It can be pushed back, rejected actually. Finally, please proofread carefully and seek feedback from peers, mentors, or your advisor. Fresh eyes can help spot issues you might miss and ensure that your submission is polished and professional. A well-crafted abstract and paper summary can absolutely make the difference in getting your proposal accepted. So invest time here, it's worth it. Now let's talk about some best practices to help make your submission as strong as possible and improve your chances of getting accepted. First, follow all the guidelines to the letter. AERA has very specific requirements for formatting, word count, anonymity, and deadlines. Even small mistakes like leaving your name in your document can hurt your chances, so always double check the details. Another important tip is to tie your work into the conference theme. For 2026, that theme is Unforgetting Histories and Imagining Futures, constructing a new vision for education research. Even if your research does not perfectly align, look for ways to connect your work for this broader conversation. It shows reviewers that you're engaging with the field's current priorities. Be sure to highlight both the novelty and rigor of your research. Reviewers want to know not just what you studied, but why it matters and how it contributes something new or useful to the field, and that usually goes under the significance of the study. Use authentic examples and engage reviewers personally. Your writing should feel scholarly, but it can also be vivid and compelling. So help the reviewers see the people, places, or problems your research addresses. This makes your submission more memorable. Keep track of key dates and logistics. For example, the submission deadline, July 25, and remember that if you're accepted, you'll need to register for the conference by early 2026. And finally, take advantage of AERA's resources. One excellent tool actually is the AERA online paper repository. It's a free resource when you can read past successful submissions and you can follow the examples and get a feel of what strong papers look like. All of these practices can give your submission an edge and help you feel more confident about putting your work out there. I wanted to take a moment to share a bit of my own journey with AERA because I hope it will encourage you to see how your coursework can truly become something bigger. So on this slide, as you see, a screenshot of a paper I developed for EDOL 766, the Quantitative Research Methods and Descriptive Statistics class that I took here at Pepperdine with Dr. Lee. At the time, it was simply a class assignment. But with Dr. Lee's guidance, I transformed that project along with 7 of my peers. Each assignment into a submission for the AERA annual meeting in 2023 in Chicago. So not only was it accepted for presentation, but it became my first step into sharing my research on a national stage. And the story did not end here because my paper was accepted and included in the AERA online paper repository. It caught actually the attention of publishers, and I was later invited to publish and to contribute a chapter into a book, all from the AERA experience. So what began as a regular class assignment ultimately led to presenting at a major conference and contributing to a scholarly book. I'm sharing this with you because I want you to know that it's absolutely possible for your work, even projects you complete in your courses, to grow into something much bigger, more than you think. AERA can open doors, not only for networking and learning, but also for publishing and expanding your scholarly impact. And please do not listen to anyone who tells you, this is so overwhelming, this is so tedious, this is like you've got low chances. No, we all got chances. Just know how to submit and where to submit. So if you're sitting there thinking, I'm just working on a class project, remember, it might be the start of your own path to presenting, publishing, and shaping the conversation in your field. At this point, I talk too much, I know. I will turn things over to Dr. Sung Lee, Assistant Professor of Education here at GSCP, who we all love. Dr. Lee, thank you for joining us today. The floor is yours.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Safa. Not only for this opportunity for me to speak, but for organizing this workshop today, because I think it is very, very useful for everyone in our community, right? Everyone who's interested in getting their research out there and be able to share their research with different communities and different groups. So thank you so much for doing this. All right, so I also prepared some some slides of my own. I know I don't have too much time, and I won't take too much of everyone's time here, but I did
I
come up
stopped
with some
sharing from my
slides.
end. Please feel free
Okay.
to share.
Yes. So hopefully if I'm able to, if you can give me permission to share, that would
Sure.
be great.
Let me-
Yeah. And yeah, it's so great to see everyone today. All right. So let me try that again. Nope.
No,
Should I send a
Dr.
request? Maybe I send a request.
Please, because
Yeah.
I really,
Okay.
Go
All
ahead
right.
and try it
If I
again.
can.
yeah,
Thank you so much. All right. So, if you've been in my classes, you know I love my slide deck. So here it is. Some great questions that are coming up in the chat. Please, please, if you have other questions, put them into the chat. This is the time to do so. All right. So what am I going to talk about for the next 20 minutes? So I have 4 points. These are the points that I'm going to talk about. So first point is taking the first step. Yeah. And which all of you are doing right now. And so I'm glad that you're here. Second point will be working together. And I'm going to talk about understanding the task. And I'll wrap up with continuing to build. So in terms of taking the first step, as I've mentioned, you being here today, you're taking that first step. So I applaud that. I applaud you for doing so. The next step is, well, let me share with you my first step in right it in becoming involved with AERA, and it was with 2009 AERA annual meeting in 2019 in Toronto. I was a doctoral student at the time, and you can see here, well, the picture on the left-hand side is a poster presentation that I gave. So I was very fortunately, I got accepted to 2 things. One is a poster presentation, and the other was a roundtable session. And so that's my poster. You can 2 things you can kind of learn from that. One, I've been wearing the same thing for the last 7 years. Probably longer than that, probably 20 years. I wear the same thing. Number 2, as I see myself now, I think I was pretty nervous because look at my name tag. It's flipped, upside down, and I'm sitting there, I'm standing in front of my poster, and this was the days before before the screens. So I had to actually get the poster printed and tack them onto this board, and I'm nervous. I'm smiling but nervous. But boy, what a learning experience. Yeah, people came up and asked me questions about this, and I was able to talk to them, and it was exciting. On the right hand side, those are some fellow participants from Pepperdine. I see some of my cohort mates. I see some colleagues. You see Dr. Chen, yeah. um um Dr. Sharifa Fard is in the back hiding. We see also Dr. Sato. Great memories. And you know what I think about when we for next year, it's being held in Los Angeles. So that picture, that group photo, I'm expecting and I'm hoping that we're gonna have a lot more people from GSCP represented. Yeah. And so that's the goal today. But so that's the first step. Second, I want to talk about working together. Yeah. And by working together, I mean collaborating with colleagues and faculty members to submit different pieces or different work as submissions to AERA. In the chat, there were some questions as to, oh, how can I submit multiple things? Yes, you can. As long as they're, right? Dr. Safa talked about they have to be substantially different, but as long as they're different papers, you can actually submit multiple papers. So your name could be on multiple submissions. I think there is a limit though, in terms so that people aren't submitting 100 things. I think it might be like 5 or something like that. We have to double check, but so your name could be only on, I think, let's say if that number is 5 submissions. But it's not 1, it's not 2, because yeah, I've actually had multiple submissions myself. Okay, so what does that mean in terms of collaborating with colleagues and faculty members? Number one, it's good to have thought partners, right? Yeah, we're thinking of one thing, but getting more ideas from different individuals, it helps us to improve our submissions. Number two, why? Accountability partners, right? Sometimes we say, oh yes, I'm gonna write that, but if no one asks me, other things might occur and I might just drop the ball. So having a co-author is a great way to have that accountability partner and a supporter in your work. And yes, as I mentioned, you can consider multiple submissions. What does that mean? You can up your chances of being accepted, right? So if you have 2 submissions, then you have twice as many chances, right? Yes, we want the quality to be good, but it does provide a way to increase our chances. Now, one caveat to this that I want to talk about is that really make sure that all the co-authors are contributing. Yeah, we don't want this to become something where, oh, let me put your name on mine so I could put my name on yours, right? Because that number one, that's not ethical. Number two, if you're a presenter, you need to know what you're presenting, right? Like we should all imagine that these papers are accepted. So if you do end up becoming an author on it, then you should know your work. So we should really think about how we can contribute to the work that we're putting our names on. And that means you could be co-authors in terms of writing. You could serve as a review. So let's say your colleague says, oh, I have a paper, I want you to be my reviewer and give me suggestions, then that you're actually contributing in a way, right? And so from that contribution, then you might be placed as perhaps a second author on the paper. So and then in terms of my final point on this slide is to really have that conversation about authorship order in advance. This is sometimes it's a very tough conversation. Am I going to be first author? Or are you going to be? So if we're collaborating together, have that conversation so that it is perfectly clear, right? You don't want to be sitting on the day of on the due date trying to figure out, okay, am I going to be first author on this, or are you becoming first author on this, etc. So have that conversation in advance. So think about those things. Okay, so that's my second point of working together. My third point is to really understand the task. What are we trying to do? What's the submission? What's this paper that I'm writing? And Dr. Safa did a really good job in giving us an overview. And she actually talked about what I'm going to talk about, which is the online repository. So that's where I'm going to. But I have a little diagram that I use. And if you've been in my methodology research methods courses, you've seen this before, because I talk about the different types of research. And I kind of, I talk through this. When we talk about research, we can categorize research into empirical or non-empirical research. Empirical when we're analyzing or working with data directly, and then non-empirical when we're not analyzing data directly, right? We're not working directly with data. And on the empirical side, so with our research methods courses, we're most of the time mostly talking about empirical research. So qual-quant mixed methods. On the non-empirical side, we're really talking about theoretical or conceptual papers or review papers. So for example, systematic reviews, meta-analyses, lit reviews, they don't really stand alone, but let's put literature reviews in there as well, right? So those are non-empirical. And so kind of let's keep that in our minds for the time being here as we go into talking about the online repository. So the online repository has all of the presentations given at AERA meetings since 2010. What does that mean? That means these are all papers that have been accepted. Now, So this is the link. Let me put this link in there so that you can also start to explore here, as long as you submit different. No, so I'm looking at Gigi's question. As long as they're different, not the format type, they're on different topics. Yeah, or different, or they are different studies. So it could be on the same topic, but you can have, let's say you're working on a topic of enrollment rates or dropout rates, and you have one study that's quantitative and another, you did two studies. You did one study that's quantitative, you did another study that's qualitative, then those could be separate submissions. Those are separate studies, right? Okay. All right. So for example, I want to just quickly navigate to this and just show you. So that's the repository. Yes, Robert, please.
Sorry to interrupt, and it's really just for clarity.
Yes.
So I have my dissertation topic, let's say, and I say, okay, Division L focuses on policy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to submit to Division L, but I can't also submit to like Division A, which is more on like teacher learning and development, let's say, and see which one will say yes. I'm
No,
not allowed
so
to do that.
yeah, so you can't take the same paper and then submit it in different places.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so here's the repository. And one thing is, so you can go into it. So there's the online paper repository. This is what I'm going to focus on. And when I click on that, you can kind of pick your year. You can not pick your year, but I think it helps because there's literally thousands of papers. So for example, let's pick 2024. That's the latest year. And I go to the search menu. And one thing that I like to do is well, I'm going to show you is the advanced search. And the advanced search, what it's good for is to really look for things. You can look at different criteria to search for papers. So for example, one thing that we can look at is, since we're talking about the different types of research, methodology. And here, if I click on methodology, then I see that there are 4 different types. And so these are the submission types. When you submit, you have to select your methodology, right? And so you could either select qualitative, quantitative, mixed method. So remember, these are all empirical pieces. And then there's a category called conceptual or theoretical. Yeah. So if I want to look at, I want to look at some qualitative papers that have been submitted, then I can do that search. And what happens is that you get this result, and you can see here, these are all papers from 2024, and you can actually download them. If you see this download button, then you can actually download the whole paper. If you just see this this magnifying glass, then basically it's saying that you can only see the abstract, and that's it, right? Oh, I went back. So let me go back. 2024, search menu, advanced, and I won't linger too long here. So let's see, qualitative, and I'm gonna do that search. And if I click on the download here, then I am able to download the entire paper. Yeah. And so you get this cover sheet, and then you're getting the whole paper. So as Dr. Safa mentioned, this is a great way to see what your task is, what you're trying to do. Yeah. And so here, let me go back. So looking at from the repository, these are the numbers I pulled just today, right? So the total number of papers that were accepted in 2024, 6,104. So yeah. So you imagine how many tens of thousands of papers are being submitted. This is a large conference. Here's the breakdown though. It's interesting. Qualitative, 50%, quantitative, 26%, mixed, 13%. So you can kind of see like it's half and then half of half and then half of that kind of thing. Yeah. But empirical, and these are all empirical research. It makes up like 90% of the accepted submissions. So you can see how empirical research is the preferred research. Yeah, because it is we're looking at data and we're analyzing data. However, there's this non-negligible number that we need to look at as well. 569 papers that are conceptual or theoretical. That means it's about 10%, 9.3. And these consist of reviews, theoretical papers, etc. All right, so keep that in mind as I'm kind of as I go through this here. So consider your options. You can submit empirical research if you've already done the work, right? Now we're sitting here about 3 weeks out from the deadline. If you want to actually conduct empirical research right now, that's probably going to be difficult. But if you have empirical research that you've conducted, for example, I think we have some graduates who have dissertations that are done, then that might be a great place to draw. So take a piece of your empirical research and to highlight it in a submission. So that's all good to go. So one thing to think about in terms of empirical research is it usually requires IRB approval. Unless you're using publicly available secondary data, then you might just need to report your usage to the IRB, things like that. But so that's the empirical side. The non-empirical side, I think that's where my mind is kind of going, especially for students who might not have done empirical research just yet, right? So we can consider reviews, systematic reviews, meta-analyses, or even literature reviews that you might have already done in class, yeah, that you might be able to repurpose. So it may be possible to reutilize or repurpose papers that you have already written from class assignments, etc. So these could be, so from the statistics, there aren't that many that get accepted, but there are. So why not try, right? And so I have here, I was going through some of let me just put this into the chat as well. Sorry, I'm kind of, loading, putting so many things into the chat. So these are 4 papers that I've pulled from the repository from 2024 that you might want to take a look at. Yeah. So in order for you, so I'm looking at Mimi's question here. If you're analyzing data and you want to present that, then you might need to get IRB clearance. Although I think the data that you are analyzing might be publicly available data. So you might just need to fill out it's a 1-pager that you submit to, and usually the turnaround is pretty fast to the IRB.
Is it in the thing where we go in to Pepperdine, where we're doing all our work?
Pepperdine IRB website has non-human subjects.
Right.
So basically you're doing non-human subjects research. So there's a single page report. It's not an application, but it's a report that you submit to the IRB. Okay, so we're not gonna look at all of these, but I want to look at the first one, because the first one's like a kind of so it's titled Advancing Cultural Humility into Special Education Practice, Suggestions for Working with Minoritized Students with Disabilities, right? So I'm going to open that up, and I want you to just see so I chose this and I placed this up front because it feels quite similar to maybe a class assignment paper that you might have done. Yeah. So this could be an example of how you might be able to turn something that you've written as an assignment and repurpose it into a submission, right? So this one is looking at, it's focusing on this notion of cultural humility, and you can kind of see it. They talk about cultural humility, and so they talk about it. So it's sort of that intro section. When it gets to data sources and results, there's not really much happening in terms of actual data. So they talk about some literature review that they've done and maybe some some findings from other studies, but that's pretty much it. And then they get into these thematic discussions. Yeah. So providing cultural self-reflection, providing cultural opportunities, etc., making students feel better. So these almost feel like themes that they're discussing that are coming from different pieces of literature. Yeah. And then they close out, I think, with a scholarly significance of this work. Yeah. So this is an example. When you look at these other examples, you'll see some literature reviews that have been submitted. And then the final one is a systematic review. And so systematic reviews can, can stand alone oftentimes as a study, especially so here, when we go here, systematic reviews are review studies and they stand alone. Literature reviews, however, they are usually part of empirical studies. They're a section within, right? They don't usually stand alone. However, for some submissions for AERA, they were able to get accepted. So, if you do have a literature review that you have developed for a class, you might want to consider that. All right, I know I'm over time here. My last point, continuing to build.
You're good, Dr. Lee, you're good.
Really? Okay,
Yeah.
good. Continuing to build. So after it's really about using your submissions as a stepping stone for future publications. Yeah. So yes, it's going to be great to submit, get accepted, and present at the AERA conference. However, that's not the end point. That's the starting point, because one thing about AERA is that the repository, it's voluntary. You can see here that not so many people have actually allow for downloading and sharing of their full papers, but some folks, it's not. They only allow the abstract to be shared. Yeah. And the reason for that is they might actually take the paper that they've written, they might revise it, make some changes to it, and then maybe they might submit it for some other purpose in terms of maybe a journal publication. Yeah. So it is really, you're able to not only present it at the conference, but you're also able to take that paper and say, oh, it's okay. I don't need to have my paper in the repository. I'll save it so that I can do something else with it. Yeah. So it can be a stepping stone. And second point is that even in the case that your submission is not accepted, let's say your submission, you submitted 2 things and both of them get rejected, it's okay. Because number one, you're going to receive really valuable feedback. So all papers are peer reviewed by at least 2 or 3 reviewers, right? So you get good feedback that you're going to be able to use to improve your paper. And then you can always submit your revised version of your paper to other conferences or journals or to future AERA annual meetings. Yeah. I'm going to end it with a very small story here. There was a paper that we submitted, not to AERA, but to another conference one year, and it was rejected. Yeah. And we made some changes to it. The following year, we submitted it again to that same conference. It was accepted and it was nominated for best paper, right? So you can think about, yes, it doesn't feel good when you get the rejection letter, but it's an opportunity to make it even better, take those comments and to really try again next time. Yeah. And another thing to think about is the reviewing sometimes is it's unpredictable. You actually don't know who's reviewing your paper. That the reviewer, on the day that they reviewed your paper, they might have had a great day and they might have, put glowing remarks on how fantastic your paper was. Or that day, your reviewer might have had a horrible morning and they might not have given you good scores, and therefore your paper might have been rejected. So I think the key thing to remember is, because of the unpredictability, the only chance that we have is when we do make that submission, right? So I want to take this opportunity to just not make another last ditch effort to encourage you. Yes, we only have 3 weeks left, but you have some, I'm pretty sure all of us, we have some pretty good resources under our belts that we can utilize to put something together by the 25th. And yes, Robert, and then I please.
Yeah, just last question. So just to be sure, I am submitting a proposal based on my paper, but am I also submitting my full paper?
So when we say proposal, it is just, it's another word, it's a synonym that we're using for submission.
Okay,
The
so
submission needs to be a paper, and not to be confused with a research proposal, which you use for your prelim or something, a grant proposal or something. It's not actually a proposal. It's a proposal in the sense that it is an application or a submission. Does that
okay,
make sense?
yeah. So I think my question is, like, the dissertation is in a very specific format. Does that mean I have to reformat before I submit?
Yeah, because it can only be 2,000 words or less.
So it really is just like an overview of my study.
It can be, or it could be a particular
Piece
angle or perspective or particular analysis. So if you might have multiple analysis, you might take a small piece of it and then craft it into a small submission.
Got it. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I would like to add, Robert, also to make sure that you have the headings in your submission. So they really it really makes a difference when you have the purpose statement, like the purpose, the methodology, the significance. So it really makes a difference. Dr. Gabby.
I just wanted to add that for those of you that have already completed a dissertation or have completed an extensive research project, a best practice is to never submit the entirety of that research at any one location, because the minute you do, you can't submit it anywhere else. So instead, it's best that you break it into pieces, right? So for example, those of you that have done EIP, you have 4 research questions. You could break it down by research question. You can do a combination of research questions. You can do a combination of interview questions. You can look at something specific in your data. You can even look at things that didn't show up in your data or that weren't significant in your data, but were of interest. So there's a lot of ways to use your dissertation to present, to attend conferences, and actually, slice it and dice it so that you can leverage it in the most effective way possible and get you as much out of it as possible.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Gabby. And to Dr. Gabby's point, for my example that I shared, actually the one that the book chapter that I contributed, that I published, I was writing my dissertation and I was only writing my literature review. So I published part of the literature review, not even all the literature review, and it came out a book chapter. So yeah, Professor Maya, please go ahead.
It's just Mimi does it for my students. This kind of goes more to to Dr. Lee. Like, so like the coding that I'm doing on North Carolina, that's part of the bigger Frederick Douglass. So that would be the qualitative. So if I was to narrow down and just talk about the new discoveries and how I'm creating the coding, because I found out that they originally paid everybody for it and shouldn't have. So is that something that I could talk about within that project, so I can narrow down to just being the one to recode the North Carolina and do it? Could I do that? Take that small section, discuss that, or does that have to be like methodology, or just talk about the coding itself, or the fact of why I need to recode? Do you see where I'm going with that?
Yeah, so you can take a smaller, as Dr. Gabby mentioned, you can take a smaller subset of your data to focus in on for this submission, right? And in terms of your methodology. So it's again, same thing, right? Especially if your submission is going to be an empirical research, then you need to have your intro, kind of the sections, right? The 4 sections of intro, methods, results, and discussion. Yeah. And they kind of all also, if you look at the CFP, call for proposals, then they also kind of give a breakdown of their the sections that they would like to see. So you should also kind of, which align very nicely with the 4 sections that typically comprise a research study anyway. So yeah, you should take a look at that as well.
Thank you. Thank you so much,
Right.
Dr. Lee.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you for, just sharing your invaluable insights and words of encouragement and all the valuable information that you shared. Now we're going to hear directly from our graduate students and alumni who each have about 5 minutes to share their experiences presenting at ARA, practical tips and moments that were meaningful for them. I've already introduced them earlier, so let's go ahead and get started with Dr. Kaylee Axtell. Dr. Kaylee, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Hello. Hi, everyone. Yes, it's great to see familiar faces. And also, if I haven't met you yet, it's great to meet you. My name is Kaylee, and I wanted to share about a poster presentation that I did at AERA. It was, as Dr. Sung Lee and Dr. Safa mentioned, it was one of the digital e-posters, which if you've never seen them yet, it's just so fast. It's like a flat screen TV. It's so nice. It's such a nice experience. And it's lots of fun to kind of see the big posters set up that way. So I put together a poster. Oh, there I am. There I am. There I am getting some valuable feedback. Thank you, Dr. Safa. I was going to share that, one of the highlights of having the poster on the flat screen, like you can see there, is that you do have folks going by and offering their thoughts on your presentation. And I remember distinctly hearing some certain perspectives and pieces of feedback that I really valued because I would have never thought of them myself. And you just can't anticipate, right, the things that you will learn from other people. And so I would say that was one of the most valuable pieces of presenting there, no matter where you're at in your work, as the presenters have already mentioned. So there were folks coming through that were also presenting, in a related field. And then there were folks who were just browsing around and maybe are unfamiliar with your field of study, and everyone's perspective is unique and interesting. And so having a presentation there, in my experience, really garnered feedback that I would have never thought of. So that was definitely a highlight for me. And then I would say some tips that I personally took advantage of that were really helpful in getting me to AERA and having a great experience were one, utilizing the resources that were available to me. So I applied for the student funding and received it and was really grateful to have that. It kind of boosts your experience as a student. For me, I know that it did. And so I recommend applying for anything you're eligible for. I would say also that if you have the opportunity or something looks interesting to you, that you volunteer in some capacity. I volunteered as a part of a graduate student program they had there, and it helped me to feel even more connected to the population there. It helped me to find a pocket of people that I could easily talk to, because it can feel a little overwhelming at times. I'll say it did for me. And so that was a big help, having that volunteer opportunity. And then, of course, another tip that I wanted to share is being proactive about reaching out. If you have a submission to AERA and it's accepted, send a note to the folks on this call, Dr. Safa, Dr. Sung Lee, Dr. Gabby, all the faculty and your fellow students on here. I did that, and it's really helpful, right, when you see people that you know presenting and kind of having that opportunity to support them as well, right? It kind of grounds your experience, especially if it's one of your first times at AERA. So, and I'm speaking from experience there. Being connected with other folks from Pepperdine is just invaluable. So those would be my tips. And then lastly, I will wrap up with just mentioning that it is, I know Brittany earlier, she mentioned it's a celebration of connections all year long. Yes. So I would say that's my biggest takeaway. And what I wish I could have said better is what Dr. Sung Lee just said. He said it's just a stepping stone. It's the beginning, you know? And I think that's a very valuable way to see it. It's not a means to an end. This is all just part of this nonlinear process of being in academics, giving your research and your hard work a voice, and showing up to be a part of the community that really needs you, you know? So, yes, that's my encouragement, a little of my experience. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Dr. Axel, for sharing those insights and for your continuous support to this work and to the research workshops that we do. Next, we will hear from Angelique Vansky, and I would like to say it in French, Angelique. The floor is yours.
Hi. First, thanks for having me. And also, happy to see Dr. Lee here. The reason I actually ended up presenting at AERA this last spring was because Dr. Lee encouraged me and my partner, Kat, who will be speaking next, to use a paper that we had created for his class as a submission for AERA. And he walked us through picking a SIG and all of those things. So it was super helpful. I'm going to echo a lot of things that people have already talked about. First, if you are submitting, try to submit to more than one thing because you're already committing the time to go to that conference. You're going to be there, you're going to be attending. So you should definitely try to do more than one thing, hedge your bets, so to speak. Tailor your submission to the theme. So definitely use keywords from the description of the theme for this upcoming year, which I'm very excited about because a lot of my work fits with. Leverage work that you've already done. So don't remake the wheel. If you can transform something that you've already started working on, even if it's just, you know, the lit review portion, that's a lot less work for you. We did a poster session and we had originally applied to do a paper session, and it ended up being really invaluable that we had the poster session because people kept coming up to speak to us. And even if the person wasn't there specifically to see our poster presentation, because it is SIG specific, they were there for that overall subject matter. So they were interested, they were asking us questions. There was tons of networking. I think that was where the most networking happened. Be prepared to speak about your subject with knowledge and clearly and concisely. Don't try to like rely on notes or something. Be able to just, you know, pivot and be flexible and be excited because if you're excited, like they're excited. And what else? Oh, yeah. Definitely apply for as many things as you might possibly get in terms of help. I was able to get a fee waiver from AERA and then a travel award from Pepperdine, and that was awesome. Yeah, it was great. And don't be afraid to get outside of the box because when we were creating our digital poster, which is, by the way, super easy and they walk you through it and everything, we decided to do the audio for our poster in both English and Spanish. And that ended up being a huge talking point for us. As people came around, they were so incredibly impressed to see that we had it in both languages, particularly because it was relevant to our subject, and that ended up being sort of like a pathway to deeper discussions about our work. So I think that definitely don't be afraid to be yourself and get outside the box and have those types of conversations so that you can make those connections and do future work with those people.
Thank you so much, Angelique. Thank you for your sharings. And I would say that we all, the team, Dr. Gabby we were all together and we attended your presentation and at HICE. But yeah, thank you so much. Catherine, the floor is yours.
Hi everyone, my name is Catherine. I go by Kat. Again, I want to just echo thank you to Dr. Lee here, who was very helpful in just, again, being very open about the process of AERA and talking about, if you don't get accepted, take that feedback, reapply, etc. And so I think that was very helpful to just kind of start us off in the mindset of rejection is redirection. If we don't get in this time, there's always next year. There's also journals that are accepting throughout the year. And so I think it was very nice to hear that even though I might not get into the thing you're specifically applying for, there's other opportunities to expand based off whatever feedback you get. So thank you for that. So we presented on mentorship impact on Hispanic serving institutions known as HSIs, and how that impacts student success. So we were able to look at graduation rates and redefining what does it actually mean to be an HSI institution. We're very passionate about this subject matter. And so again, double dipping, I guess, in a sense, is maybe not the correct term, but this was something that we had written on, a topic that we had written on for a previous class very early on in our journey. And so just even seeing the growth of the writing, we were so proud of it then. And it was great for that time in our journey. But looking at how we wrote the paper then, when we had even submitted for AERA and then rereading it to refresh our minds the night before, we're like, we really turned this in and it got accepted, good for us. And also you can see tremendous growth in how we wrote. And even in how we were able to go about having conversations with folk was just very different than we probably would have gone about it if it had gotten accepted early on in its early writing stages, I would like to say. Get out of your comfort zone. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Utilize Pepperdine's folks here. They're very knowledgeable of different types of conferences. If you don't know where to start, ask any of us. We're more than open to help you just kind of figure out which one you want to apply for. When you get out of that comfort zone, I mean, we were presenting next to folks that also had similar topics of interest, and I collab with one of those people and actually just got recently accepted to HICE to present with them. So we co-collabed for a different, so that'll be a conversation for a different session. But I encourage them to also apply for their individual topics. And so we applied for something together and we applied for 2 different subject matters separately. And so all in all, we're both going to be presenting on 3 different things throughout our time out there in January of next year. And so super exciting to just be able to find people that also have similar interests in what you're interested in, and you can grow, or hey, I didn't think about it that way, let's work on it together. And even just things that you might not have thought about is also a great way to just collab with people that are outside your own field as well. And so just this whole conversation, I think my last advice would be look into SIGs, ask about them, learn about them when you're out there. Angelique and I were very, very lucky. We met a bunch of people that were very inviting and had actually had us join them in their events throughout our time at AERA this year. And it was a wonderful way to also find additional people to collab with, which I'm working on in the background for other things. But get out of your comfort zone. Don't be scared to ask. And definitely apply. Keep your eye out for when Pepperdine sends those emails out regarding those grants and scholarship opportunities, because they are very helpful and they are a big reason why I've been able to afford going to these conferences to begin with. So keep up the good work, everyone. And thanks again for having us be able to speak in this.
Thank you for joining us and for your invaluable insights, Catherine. Thank you so much. Next, we will hear, last but not least, from Dr. Tianchi Hao.
Oh, thank you so much. I had a slide, so let me share. So here's the so I was asking to give a overview on the themes and tips. So a brief overview of my experiences. So I participated in 2 paper presentations, and both presentations had been accepted, not published yet, in the 2 journals, the Quality Report and the Education, Technology, and Sexuality. This one's better because it's free. So let's go back to the theme. So I read their call for proposals, and from their description, I highlight some keywords that resonate to me. So reflect histories. What histories? The history inform our current challenges. The history that enable thriving futures and learners. Now they actually give a more detailed description on it. So what is learning from history? So in their term is learning from the expertise and reimagining efforts of indigenous, BIPOC, and LGBTQ communities. And the futures for them is intentional collective planning using history to spark equitable and sustainable innovation in education. And another key term is addressing current challenges. They told us the future or the challenges you want to address has to be conformed to present obstacles such as political diversion, institutional dismantling, debates over curriculum, and the systematic harm. So the overall goal or the aim is to build research agendas and practices that create equitable opportunities and collective thriving for all learners across diverse educational settings. And they actually give us the topics that they want. I will not go into them, but I generated 2 word clouds. The word clouds on the top is the original output. And then the bottom part is when I remove all the common words that we expect: education, learning, research. So these 3 key terms are the theme for this year: futures, justice, equitable. And what are my strategies of writing the proposal? This is coming from my personal experiences, so it may not apply to you. But first of all, we must know there is a 2,000 words limit. My strategy is never go below 1,800 words, because anything under that will not let you have all details. But do not go over, not a single word, because I once had something returned to me because I had over words. That doesn't happen to anyone else, right? And then how would you propose how would you try to structure your submissions? The key is, or the core part is your method, result, and discussion. So if you want to know detail, so personally, results are much more important, and then discussion, followed by method. And then you can allocate the rest of word counts to introduction, then implication, and the rest. The rest means the review. We'll get that later on. And tables and figures should always be in your submission. It's not like you can put that in the appendices. Yes, you can. I mean, one SIG actually told me that I can, but as a reviewer, I'll be more harsh because you make me go back and forth. And I do this for free. So well, I can let you go, or I can be more harsh, right? So to make it easier for reviewers. And focus less on the review because we have a very limited word count. One thing that I noticed that a lot of submissions that I review, not only from AERA but others in journal submissions, that they list their sources. For example, they said author A said this, author B said this, and then it does not really. Well, it is true that we need to break the citation clusters, but this is not narrative enough. Like, it's not pleasant to read. And reviewer like me, I don't know about you, but I will hardly ever read the lit review, but I will skim through it and I will notice 2 things: the length of it, the subtitle of it, and the year that you cited. For me, anything within the last 5 years is good. So take that in mind. So essentially, I treat this as a mini journal article that you will have everything ready to submit. And that brings us to the submission strategy. So yes, there are definitely the symposium or 6 for work in progress studies. But for me personally, I always submit a complete study because complete study are more likely to get accepted and reviewer can actually answer those reviewer questions. So below are 2 reviewer comments on the same submission I made. So you can see that there are several categories that the AERA want us to answer, and this is the rubric of them to rate or to rate your submission and decide if you can get accepted or not. And many others mentioned that submitted to right SIG. So I accidentally submitted two submissions in the same SIG. So one does not really align. So they really like it. As you can see the comments, they really like it, but they said that this is not aligned. So this one does not go through. I submitted two, and sort of answered Dr. Lee's question. And I think for one, for one person, you can only submit it two as first author, but there's no limit on how many you been attached. And to make it easy for you, just use your existing study. So it does not really worth it, at least for me, to write a whole new study just for AERA. And it better be a study with empirical data. Reviews are okay, like Dr. Lee said, but it should grow in rigorous methodology, such as there. If you use a new existing,
Your connection is
sort of work
unstable,
back with the abstract.
Dr. Howe. Yeah, we were not able to hear you.
Well, call me tomorrow later on. I ain't doing nothing. I'm sitting here playing.
Dr. Green, we can hear you. If you could please mute yourself. Thank you. Yeah, go ahead, Dr. Howe, please.
All right, so where did I lose you? Where do you want me to go back? Oh, I will share my slides, so don't worry about it. So I will just continue. So definitely, if you're using your existing studies, you must change or include the keywords in your title and abstracts. So for this year, I would probably add in history, future, or future in my title and abstract, and definitely change some discussion and implications. So for example, I'm using working on Gen AIs, and then I will try to say that how my result will address the current challenges that they focusing on. So if you set this very long, well, for me, it is okay to use ChatGPT to cut words to make sure to double check and rewarding. So you take accountability of what you submitted. And you can also email the editor, the SIG editors, and ask if your pieces align with their need. I did that multiple times. They will respond to you. And then I will cover that. So at last, I hope is that you just go submit. Don't stop you. I didn't submit to the 2022 because I think I'm not ready. That was my first year in PhD program. And for me, a paper is never perfect. You can always find flaws in there, and you can keep editing, and it just sit with you until the data is unticked and cannot submit anywhere. So just carefully polish your manuscript as much as possible and submit on the last day. That's my strategy. And if you have any questions, here's my contact information. You can definitely let me know. Let me share my slide.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, you can share them later on to my email, and I can share them with, well, anyway, the session is recorded, Dr. Howe, so they are going to be able to see everything.
Good. Thanks.
And the recording will be shared with attendees as well, so with everyone who registered. Thank you so much for your insights. We can't stress enough how important that is, especially coming from your own experiences, submitting and presenting at the AERA. And I would like to quickly share here a few photos from my participation at AERA 2023. As you can see, Dr. Sung Lee and Dr. Sama Hania were there to support me at my presentation at the roundtable session. I was very nervous until I saw them. I was like, okay, I'll be good. I'll be good. They have my back. Yeah, this was really memorable. And this is also from the 2023. We were all there. This is all, those are our, with our colleagues. Amber with her poster session. As you could see, it's a digital screen. And with Dr. Lee, it was really memorable. Also from 2023, we were a big group. We really were a big group. And this is from 2024 when I, participated as a as I chaired a couple sessions, and as a discussant, this is one of the sessions that I chaired, and this is Dr. Axtell. Okay, well, thank you so much to all our speakers, Dr. Lee, and our wonderful graduate students and alumni for sharing your experiences and insights today. Now, I would love to open the floor for any remaining questions that we may have, thoughts or reflections. We still have about 5 minutes left if anyone has more questions before we wrap up.
So I would love to make a comment.
Please, Dr. Brahmi.
So particularly in response to Dr. Kaylee's discussion about her poster, I wanted to share with her, she may not know, but I often feature the AERA posters, which are on a digital repository and available for general viewing. So I share those with my 703 class as an example of some excellent posters. So your work, if you do a poster for AERA, will be available for the research community and for faculty who want to highlight the amazing work of our Pepperdine students. Also, just keep in mind, you just never know where your presentations will take you. For example, Angelique, from her presentation at HEIS last January, I asked her to be a guest speaker in my class, and she did an amazing job. It was so much fun to have her speak in my class. And likewise, Gigi, who's working on some amazing digital discourse research, will be speaking as a guest speaker in my class in the fall, and we met up at the VEVE symposium. So, you know, getting yourself out there has all kinds of benefits in terms of participating in the scholarly community. So just encouraging all of you to participate.
Thank you, Dr. Brahmi. Yes, and to your point, also, I would highly encourage everyone who submits to ARA to get engaged with the iGallery that they have. That's not a requirement, but that's a great exposure, a great opportunity to also connect and to network. Because when I submitted when I participated, when I presented before going to Chicago, I made sure to engage with the iGallery through the iGallery by uploading my presentation, uploading a pre-recorded speech about the presentation, although it was simply a roundtable session. But I was, I made sure to do all this so that I can get better exposure, because people, even after the conference is over, you get researchers and scholars who really get in touch with the iGallery, and they get in touch with you. So that's a great networking opportunity as well. Yeah, well, thank you so much again. Whether you have a specific question, thanks for attending our session today. Thank you for being here, and we can't just stress enough about the importance of submitting. Try it, and I hope this session has demystified, as we promised at the beginning, the AERA submission process, and shown you that your work absolutely belongs on that national stage. Whether you're just beginning a research idea or finishing your dissertation, there is a place for each one of you at AERA. A huge thank you again to Dr. Sung Lee for his generous insights, and to our amazing graduate students and alumni for sharing their stories and tips. If you have any follow-up questions or would like support as you prepare your submissions, please feel free to reach out to me or to Dr. Gabby, Dr. Lee, or anyone present here at the Center for Global Partnerships and Learning, and our faculty and colleagues. And don't forget, the submission deadline for AERA 2026 is July 25, 2025, which is around the corner. Mark your calendars and start planning early. Wishing you all success in your research journeys. And I can't wait to see many of your names on the AERA program in Los Angeles in 2026. Thank you, everyone, and have a wonderful evening.